welcome everybody who is watching live or who is watching the recording, because we'll record this through Zoom. I'm super excited. This is our first live Facebook Fierce Fire and Flashes interview. Most of you know me, but I introduce myself really quick. I'm Corinne Harwell. I am right now in Costa Rica. As you can see the background, that's the cool thing these days with the Zoom. And I'm married to Bill. I have two boys, and I owner of Costa Vida Fitness, where we do fitness classes, yoga, mindfulness, and Pilates. And in the past have done a bunch of women retreat, and one is coming in next year, February. I always wanted to create this platform for women where we can come together and where we can share information, get suggestions, laugh together. And so we started about 10 days ago. We have 70 people in our group already. And when I started thinking about a topic, I thought skin is definitely something that where women are always think about, and that's how I came to asking my really dear friend Ann Griffin, that I know for a couple of years. She is a certified physician assistant. She has been doing experience with dermatology for about 15 years, and she's been on with me in the fitness classes. She's been on some women retreats, and I'm so excited and thankful that she will be here, and we'll talk about women, aging, and skin. Welcome, Ann.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for creating this group, Corinne. I love your ability to bring people together, especially at times like this. So very thankful.
Thank you. Well, could you maybe introduce yourself a little bit, maybe tell a little bit more about yourself so that everybody who doesn't know you know who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so I came to Charleston in 2004, where I went to MUSC to study medicine, and got a degree, became a physician assistant, went straight into the world of dermatology, and have stayed there ever since. Met my husband here on Sullivan's Island, and that's why our first boy was named Sullivan. We have another son, William. Yep, they're 10 and 8, and we live in Mount Pleasant. And we, like you, enjoy the great outdoors, lifestyle, fitness, all of it. And I love to be a voice for the dermatology world. That's not just telling people you have to stay inside to protect your skin. I enjoy an active lifestyle, but there are ways to do both. So I think that's important.
That's awesome. I'm so glad we're doing this interview, because I'm already learning something. I didn't know that your son was named after Sullivan's Island.
We met kite surfing back when we were fun.
Yeah,
we kids. We don't do that anymore.
I know. Cool. Well, welcome. I see Dana is watching live. Sunshine, Laura, awesome. I'm so glad y'all are here. If you have any questions in between, at the end, if we have time, we do some questions and answers. So just type it in below, and I can see it on my phone. So, let's do it. Let's start. I think the first question I'm going to ask you is the one thing that we all kind of want to know. Like, what is it exactly that happens with our skin, and especially with women skin when we age? Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So get out your mimosas, ladies. All right. So, okay. So as we age, what happens just naturally, regardless of external factors such as sunlight and lifestyle? Well, a couple things happen, especially in the deeper layers of skin. So number one, our production of collagen decreases. We always hear the buzzword collagen now. What's that do? Well, for the skin, it increases sort of the plumpness, thickness, and youthful appearance and glow of the skin. So the cells that make collagen begin to decrease their production, number one. Number two, the production of something called elastin is decreased. That's when you think of elastin, think of elasticity, what knits our skin together and keeps it firm and elastic. The production of that by those cells also decreases. Additionally, hyaluronic acid decreases. Hyaluronic acid is what attracts water and lubricates our skin. You see it in a lot of the products you buy over the market now. It's one of the big buzzwords. So we decrease hyaluronic acid, which means just sort of the hydration factor of our skin decreases. Additionally, the natural fat pads that exist all underneath our skin begin to sort of decrease and move. So when we're born and we're young, we have this perfect sort of upside down triangle shape to our face. And as the fat pads migrate, our face sort of does this. So less fullness in the upper areas of the skin and more in the lower, okay? As far as women specifically, especially when we're approaching menopause or hip menopause, the decrease in many of our hormones actually further accelerates all these processes, decreasing the production of collagen, elastin, etc. So that's something that's specific to women, especially. And then, of course, we can't forget the pesky gravity, the elephant in the room that we all hate, which naturally takes its toll over time. So that is sort of the basis of what happens to our skin naturally as we age.
Wow.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on, and when you hear it all of that, it's like, oh my gosh, that's all, we're all gonna go down. It's but I know, and I think we all have the experience looking in the mirror and we see this all of a sudden this extra line popping up, and that we thought we didn't have before, and so, and with all this stuff going on, what you just told us, what are the things, what we could do to improve our skin? So maybe, you told us about this whole process is going on. Is there things that we can do to maybe stop this process or make it go not so fast?
Yeah, so you're going to hear me stress this a lot, and I can't stress it enough. Sunscreen every single day. Okay, so that's number one. That's probably the most important thing. We could decrease the acceleration or the aging process of our skin. And I'll just give you a brief reason as to why. So when we think of sun, there's a couple different rays we think of. UVA and UVB are the big ones. UVB are what we think of when we get our big sunburns over our summer vacations and develop skin cancers. And that's obviously a very important player. But the one we don't think about is UVA. UVA comes in just natural ambient sunlight. It's not as strong as UVB, meaning we don't develop the sunburn. So we often don't realize we're getting exposure to it. But what it does is it comes into the deeper layers of skin where all those processes, the collagen production, everything we were talking about is happening, and it further destroys those processes. So by using some form of sunscreen, and I'm going to stress using some type of mineral sunscreen, which is like your titanium and zinc, every single morning, even if it's just a nice little tinted moisturizer you have with sunscreen, you are going to stop that process on a daily basis, even just like driving in the car and everything. These things are happening. So that's super important. Don't leave your house without your keys and your sunscreen. Number one. So number two is drink plenty of water. I know we always hear this, but when we're just talking about yes, there you go, girl. We were just talking about the hyaluronic acid in the skin. It absorbs water 1,000 times. It has an affinity for water 1,000 times per molecule. So the more water we drink, the more we're going to hydrate the skin internally, sort of allowing the hyaluronic acid to do its job. So hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. And of course, that helps the function of our cells, which are producing all these nice things in our skin to keep us youthful. I would also say, get lots of sleep. Okay. I think it's become in vogue in our society to like be super busy and never sleep and get a million things done. But that is such the wrong bit of information we're given. Okay. Our skin repairs itself at night while we're sleeping, while we're resting, as does the rest of our body. Collagen is produced at night while we're sleeping. All these things are produced at night. So if we're robbing ourselves of sleep, we're robbing ourselves of the ability to repair our body, our cells, and our skin. So that's super important. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And then in addition, I would say, we'll go into this when we talk a little bit further, your next question, but don't forget to visit your dermatologist to get your skin checks. Melanoma is, we know, a deadly killer, is very preventable. it's very treatable if caught early, but skin checks are super important, especially for those of us with light skin or that have a family history. So those are my recommendations.
Cool. That's a lot of. So just to recap a little bit, first to the sunscreen. I know that I am always overwhelmed about all the sunscreen. There's a lot of different conflicting. They come out with these researches. Is there any things that you can maybe give any practical tips what to look for in a sunscreen and maybe what we don't want to have in a sunscreen?
Yep. So when you think of sunscreen, there's essentially two camps. There's mineral-based sunscreen, which are like particle-based, which is basically, like we said, you turn it over the bottle, you see zinc oxide, titanium dioxide are your main components. And then there's your chemical sunscreens, which have anywhere between like 9 and 15 chemicals on the body. Your mineral sunscreens, if you're often having trouble finding them, just look for a baby sunscreen or a sensitive sunscreen. They're going to be marketed that way. So sometimes when I'm running low, whatever I put in my kids, I put in myself. Okay. The minerals, number one, are better to protect your skin throughout the day because they're more stable. So sun does break down sunscreen. So the most important thing you think about when you're out all day is reapply. If you're not reapplying your sunscreen every 2 hours, you're not getting the protection that it's telling you. So that's number one important.
Wow.
With minerals, obviously you're not exposing your skin to all those chemicals, which I'll be quite honest, even in the dermatology world, we don't know what they do to you. So why put all those chemicals on your skin if you're not sure what's happening? And then thirdly, with the minerals, so the mineral sunscreens are going to deflect sun. So sun's going to hit the mineral particle and it's going to bounce off of it. With chemical sunscreen, sun's going to hit it and the chemicals are going to absorb the sun and dissipate it as heat. That dissipates as heat in your skin. So for those of us from Northern European climates like me with blue eyes, blonde hair, it's going to create the redness and rosacea in your skin that you just don't like, whereas zinc's going to calm the skin. So always look for something that's mineral based and look for something you like. I tell people, they ask me every day in clinic, what's the best sunscreen to use? I tell them the one that you're going to wear every day. If you don't like it, you're not going to wear it, and then it's not doing you good. So there's so many great products out now, even the tinted moisturizers that have somewhat of a mineral base in it. So daily use, and then when you're out all day, reapplying, super important.
Yeah. I personally love the tinted moisturizer. I used to not to use any of that, but I love to put in the morning that on. I have to admit, listening to you, I know that I probably have to apply it more often than I do, but I love already in the morning to get that on because I don't put too much on my face, and that way I have that at least on my skin, because I don't know if you have experience with it, but a lot of sunscreens for the face break out after a while. So I totally agree. You have to find what works for you, and that's not every brand or every type that will work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Well, nice. Those are already super super good tips to protect and to improve. I think water, and we say that in exercise all the time too, water is so crucial to our whole body, and it's really good to hear that actually by drinking more water we can really help our skin too. So perfect. So let's say we have a skin problem, a concern, or something. We all are pretty conscious about our skin, especially I know a lot of people are in Charleston here in Costa Rica. There's a lot of sun exposure. What would be your advice for people to say, hey, what do we do when we have a concern?
Yeah, well, I would say make sure you have a good dermatologist, not just for specific concerns like a breakout or rosacea problems or a rash, but to get your annual skin checks. Okay, so those are super, super important. With our, what's happening in our, the amount of sunlight that's getting into our, through our atmosphere now, and with our active lifestyle, the rise of melanoma is big, especially in younger people. So I can't, stress enough getting annual skin checks. And if the dermatologist is going to tell you you have a family history or history of skin cancer, that's probably going to be more often, like 2 or 3 times a year. So on that note, if I'll just touch on this real quickly. Your melanoma, which is the one we, as dermatologists lose sleep about, would be typically sort of like a black or rapidly changing mole, either a new mole that arises on the skin that just looks funky, or a mole that starts to change, itch, bleed, burn, change in size, shape, or color. Those are things to go run, don't walk to your dermatologist. Okay, those are really, really important. Non-melanoma skin cancers are truly our sun-related ones, which is our basal cell and squamous cell skin cancers. I've even had one myself on my back. Basically, it's just going to be like a non-healing wound. They're usually just kind of like a red sore. They itch, they burn, they just don't go away. 3 months later, it's no better. Those are things to get checked out. Not as serious, but you do want to see a dermatologist for that.
Okay, perfect. Now, is there any tips? The same thing as with the sunscreen. There's a lot of dermatologists. Is there any advice you can give us if you look for a dermatologist? What to look for, or what we want to make sure that they have, what kind of background?
Yeah.
Anything that
I can tell you a lot of times now, you're probably, if you're just going for general skin concerns, a lot of times you're going to see someone like me, the PA or the nurse practitioner. And that's often a good thing. A lot of the dermatologists now are focusing on the really extensive surgeries, the skin cancer surgeries, a lot of the cosmetics. So you just want to make sure you get someone that has experience and that has, in my opinion, a good bedside manner and that you like. I had a lot of people that come to me that leave some doctor from Harvard because they don't like the way they talk to them or talk over them or don't give them the time of day. So find someone that you like, that you trust, that's willing to answer all your questions, and that's not too hard to get in with, that doesn't have a 9-month wait, as an example. I mean, melanoma can't wait. So once you establish a good rapport, and you start seeing someone regularly, if you do have an emergency, I think it's a lot easier to get in for something like that.
Okay, perfect. That's really good. Yeah, because we always go on the internet, and then there's so many different practices and all that. So this is really nice to know a little bit what to look for if we're looking for a new dermatologist. Now, of course, we have all the big question here. Most of women are very busy women, and there's tons of things I know that involve the skin and that we can do. There's so many products right now on the market. And it's overwhelming. Like for a person like me that is not super, I work out a lot, I'm active, and I'm not always, as you can see, I have no makeup on and all that, but I still want to take care of my skin. Do you have a number one tip or suggestion that you say, okay, if you have a couple minutes a day, this is what I really would recommend you to do to improve your skin?
Yeah. So I'll bring up two, because we already touched on the one. I'm the same as you. I mean, I practice dermatology, but I don't want to spend more than a minute in the morning. So number one, your tinted sunscreen. That can act as your makeup throughout the day. Honestly, that and the little mascara, boom, you're out the door. Okay. Number one, so sunscreens. I can't emphasize that enough as a way to stop aging. Okay. I would say don't smoke, but we all know that already. So we're going to just pass by that whole one. The other thing I can recommend, because there are a lot of products out there, there's so many, a good retinoid, which is retinol or retin-A. Okay. And I'm just going to hit on those really briefly. So retinol you can buy over the counter. That's going to come in your when you see things marketed as anti-aging or wrinkle repair, that's how they're going to be buzzed. But you turn over the bottle and you look, it's going to say contains retinol. From a prescription standpoint, or from a dermatologist, you can get True Retin-A, which is just it just bumps it up to a higher level. And that a little bit of that in the evening mixed with sunscreen in the morning is going to be the magic bullet for everyone. I don't care who you are, what your background is, what skin type you have. If you can do those two things, your skin will thank you for it for your whole life. And basically what retinoids do real briefly is they're basically a high dose of vitamin A. They're going to increase collagen production, turn over skin cell production. They're sort of a little bit of the fountain of youth in the dermatology world. So I think that at night, sunscreen in the morning, that's it. That's what everyone needs.
That's awesome. Yeah, because there's, instead of, if we know there's a lot of other procedures that we can do at a dermatologist. And so this is really great that we have something that we can get ourselves. And so thank you for that tip. I definitely need to hit the store later on today or one of these days. Yes. So I know we have a lot of stuff that we can talk about skin and aging and what it does. And again, also with all these products. So we decided today to kind of top a little bit off and just make a start. But I would love to say to everybody, if you are interested in this subject and you really love it, let us know. Like send a text, post something in the group, because I would love eventually to get Ann maybe back and maybe go a little bit deeper in products or maybe hormones in our skin. We just wanted to keep it kind of short for this time, so that you have a little bit of an idea. So, Ann, do you have anything to add to all of this?
No, I mean, and I think just, living like we talked about with, and you're going to stress this, just living a healthy lifestyle, like we talked about with the water and the hydration and rest. And, you're going to get so many products thrown at you, but honestly, healthy life and, good diet, exercise, drinking water, don't underestimate those things. Okay. Because I think health comes from the inside out. So in addition to, a few products I recommended, don't forget to, start internally and, laugh, be happy. I think all these chemicals affect the skin. So, you're going to help us with the healthy lifestyle and the exercise. So we're relying on you for that bit.
Yes, I know the combination is all about it is, right? A balance finding with everything. Now, I know there might be some questions. I see Dana posted something, but let's say people would love to have some more questions outside this group, or all of a sudden think like, oh my gosh, I have been dealing with this skin problem. I have not been to anywhere. How is there any way possible they could find you? Maybe where are you at, or should we get your contact information? Maybe they go put it out there. Can you maybe tell us a little bit more where you're at right now?
Well, so I've practiced in all areas of dermatology throughout my career. I've done straight medical, I've done surgical, and now I'm actually doing mostly cosmetic dermatology. So the step further that we haven't talked about, in addition to all those things, I'm doing, the Botox, the fillers, and it's fun. And I really like, from my perspective, to add it to the healthy lifestyle that we already talked about. I'm not just going to throw those all at people and tell you those other things don't matter, because they do. So I'm currently just started working at this cool place called Ella Aura. It's a skin therapy clinic, and it's where the old Pivotal Fitness, they just left the 17, which I'm really upset about. But it's basically right across from that, where Salon Indigo is, where Collective Coffee used to be. But anyway, they're awesome because there's a lot of really brilliant estheticians there. They do these amazing facials that are just the most crazy 2.5-hour cool experiences you can get. And their skincare lines, our skincare lines are better than any I've ever seen. Really amazing science-backed, products that we were talking about. So it's a great place just to go for your skin in general. But we don't do like a lot of dermatology. I'll help with basic stuff. When I'm treating a client, if they have questions about acne or rosacea, I can treat that, but I'm not going to do like your skin checks and your Accutane. Those are more but I can certainly refer someone to dermatologists.
Okay, perfect. So maybe if somebody has more questions, like I said, post it in our Facebook group or contact me, and then maybe I can bring them in contact with you behind the scenes with that. And then we can still hopefully one day plan another session where we go a little bit more deeper in some other stuff. There's so much to cover, right?
So much, yeah. It's our biggest, people don't realize skin's your biggest organ, so it's a lot to talk about.
It's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I was so excited to have you this first interview, and I really appreciate your time. And thanks everybody for watching. And I hope everybody enjoyed it and maybe learned a thing or two. And I wish everybody a super happy day.
Thanks, Corrine.
Take care of your skin.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Ann.
Go drink some water.
All right. Yes. Go. Let's all fill up that cup, right?
That's right.
Very important. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.